Was the Titanic disaster truly an accident, or was there a hidden hand at play? The story we've been told is of an unsinkable ship meeting its tragic fate against an iceberg. But what if I told you there's more to this story? Financial motives, political agendas, and secret plots. Could they be the real reason the Titanic lies at the bottom of the Atlantic? Stay with me as we unravel shocking evidence and dive deep into the mysteries surrounding one of history's most infamous disasters. You might never look at the Titanic the same way again. First, let's start with what we know. On April 15, 1912, the Titanic, the largest and most luxurious ship of its time, struck an iceberg during its maiden voyage and sank within hours. Over 1,500 lives were lost, a tragedy etched into history books as a catastrophic accident. But even the official story raises questions. The ship had received multiple iceberg warnings earlier that day. Why were they ignored? And why did the Titanic's lifeboats leave half empty? Were these mere oversights, or is there something we're missing? Here's where things start to get interesting. One theory suggests the Titanic's sinking wasn't just a tragedy, it was a carefully orchestrated plan by powerful elites. Let's talk about J.P. Morgan, one of the wealthiest men in the world at the time, and the owner of the Titanic's parent company, White Star Line. Did you know J.P. Morgan was supposed to be on the Titanic? That's right, he had a first-class ticket, but mysteriously canceled his trip at the last minute. Coincidence? Maybe, but here's where it gets even stranger. Some of the Titanic's wealthiest passengers, including John Jacob Astor IV, Benjamin Guggenheim, and Isidor Straus, were outspoken opponents of a central banking system in the U.S., the same system that J.P. Morgan supported. These men tragically perished in the disaster. Could their deaths have cleared the path for Morgan's financial ambitions? And what about the rumored insurance fraud? Was the Titanic deliberately sunk to collect a massive payout? Or was another ship swapped in its place? More on that in a moment. Here's a theory that will make you question everything. Was the Titanic actually the Olympic? The Olympic was a near-identical sister ship to the Titanic, owned by the same company. It suffered significant damage during a collision months before the Titanic's maiden voyage. Some researchers believe White Star Line swapped the two ships as part of an elaborate insurance scam. Imagine this. The damaged Olympic, disguised as the Titanic, is deliberately sunk, allowing the company to recover its losses while the real Titanic sails on under a different name. Far-fetched? Maybe. But consider this. Survivors reported inconsistencies with the Titanic's design, and photos of the wreck show parts that match the Olympic. Could this be the smoking gun? But it's not just about money. Some believe the Titanic disaster had political motives. In 1912, tensions were high among global powers, and the sinking of a ship filled with influential passengers could serve hidden agendas. Were the Titanic's lifeboats intentionally limited to ensure fewer survivors, reducing the risk of conflicting testimonies? And why were rescue efforts delayed, despite the nearby ship Californian supposedly seeing the distress flares? Some theorists point to shadowy organizations pulling the strings. Could the Titanic's sinking have been a warning? A message to those who dared to oppose powerful forces? Of course, not all of these theories hold water, pun intended. Some historians argue that the Titanic disaster was simply a tragic accident, a perfect storm of human error and bad luck. But here's the thing. The more you dig into the Titanic story, the more questions arise. The missing binoculars, the ignored iceberg warnings, the strange behavior of key players. Was this all just a series of unfortunate coincidences? Or does it point to something more sinister? A plan so carefully executed that even over a century later, we're still left wondering? So, what do you believe? Was the Titanic's fate sealed by chance? Or was it the result of a hidden agenda? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's uncover the truth together. And don't forget to hit that like button if this video made you think twice about the Titanic, and subscribe for more deep dives into history's biggest mysteries. Until next time, stay curious and question everything.